Yo, 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 what's good, YouTube? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back. Yes, sir, I am back. Welcome to Friday Night Chop Session with Stormybman. As we get into episode 61, we're calling it Recycled Fighters. Okay? I had a different title leading up to today, and then I decided to change it. But this is Friday, May 8th, 2020, and we are here to talk a little bit about the sport of boxing with you. Glad to have you out there with us, and we're going to get into it in a minute. Just want to say hello to everybody out there. I hope everybody's having a wonderful week. Despite what we have to deal with, again, this ongoing situation, and you know what I mean. But I just hope that everyone is taking the advisement of keeping your loved ones safe and healthy. But I'm glad to be here with you. I'm glad to be talking it up, talking about some boxing. So we'll get into it. I've been having a good go lately on a run with these streams, and I want to thank the chat. I want to thank the people who support the channel. Stormybman's channel is growing. We're growing and growing. And for instance, I will, this coming Tuesday, I will be doing the Tuesday tussle on another channel. I'll be doing it on the channel for BFTB. The brother has opened up his channel for me to do an episode of my show, the Tuesday Tussle, from his platform. So when you guys check me out next Tuesday, it'll be on the channel for BFTB, the Best Fight the Best. And I'm totally gracious that he has extended that invitation for me. So you guys want to catch Stormybman for the next Tuesday tussle, it'll be broadcast 8 p.m. Central from BFTB channel. My brother Reggie Owens will be joining me in a moment. But as we open up this show this evening, the show, just overall, I'm feeling very good and feeling very thankful for the progress that the Stormybman channel has been making. I want to say shout out to the LDBC. Brother 78 has done some wonderful things in helping to just let people know to check me out. And I'm grateful for that as well. We got a few people out here in the chat. We got Trick Nolte out there. He says, chat, good evening. Donald, the 65-year-old G. Grant, says, salute to the God, Stormy B. Salute to you, brother. Glad to see you out here. Nate the Great is out there. He says, salute to Stormy and the chat. Kenneth Johnson, my brother, says, salute Stormy B, man. And Kenneth, I don't know if you caught it during the Three Wise Men broadcast, but I did shout you out and thank you for the PayPal donation, man. That was sweet. Appreciate it. Appreciate the love and the support, man. Derek McGee is out there. He says, salute, family. Sister Denise Wards is here with us. She says, salute. Michael Jackson, Boxing Talk and more is out there. He says, my bad, homie. Ain't been in, but what it do? Welcome, brother. Welcome. Eric Jenkins is out there. He says, as Stormy B, man, salute 100. Nitty G, my man, is out there. He says, salute, family. Hashtag LDBC Chicago. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, and Drew Titan is out there. He says, yo, Drew, are you available this evening? You're more than welcome to come and have a discussion with us tonight. I can let you know what the conversation is as we're still leading in with this intro. But you're welcome. Uh, yeah, it's been a couple of months now. We're dealing with this situation. It's very tough because everything has been put on hold. They're talking about opening some things back up. But ladies and gentlemen, I feel like we are forever changed as a society, as a nation, as a world, with what we're facing. So I am here to help provide an out for you guys, to talk the sport of boxing. Our show that we did last night, The Three Wise Men of Boxing, was an excellent show where we featured the amazing life of Archie Moore. If you didn't get a chance to check that show out, please go back on the archive and catch it as a replay, because it was a wonderful boxing discussion on Archie Moore, the great Archie Moore, where Scrapbook Boxing and Kurt Sugar offered up wonderful tidbits of history, keeping the legacy of Archie Moore alive and out front in front of the masses where it belongs, because when we have fighters like that who meant so much in the sport, it is never too late to discuss them. And as I've said many times before on my live streams, the brother Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens, he's out here doing his thing in calling some of these fights that are classics from history, which is always great, because there are a number of fights that fighters that some of our audiences haven't been exposed to. Some people may have just come into boxing within the past, let's just say 10 years. And haven't gone back beyond that. They may have heard of names and things like that, but haven't been associated with the matches, the personalities, and the history of the sport. So that's what we do out here. We try to help keep everything cohesive and fresh in the minds of people. Boxing has been around for a couple of 100 years, and I'll tell you something. There is a rich history and legacy for the sport, and each one of us can do our part to present it to you and get you engaged in these discussions through the chats and the live streams and the videos that get posted up. Boxing is very much alive. So, with that being said, just know that Stormybman is out here trying to do his part to keep it going for you. So yes, just believe that when I tell you. Brown on Boxing is out there. He says, salute Stormybman. Donald, now the 65-year-old G. Grant says, salute to the goddesses and the gods in the chat. Kenneth Johnson says, you are welcome, and salute to the chat. And Donald, now the 65-year-old G. Grant says, what it do, Drew Titan? God Titan, I'm sorry. He says, I'm trying to follow everybody BFTB put out here. Yeah, man. Appreciate that. And if you guys haven't had a chance to catch BFTB's 2-part segment on my channel where we had him in the eye of the storm, please go back in the archive and check that out. The brother talked up so much in the first episode that we didn't even get the chance to get to the main parts of what he does with his platform and everything. So we had a 2-parter, and it was great. And please go and check it out. This is great stuff we're doing out here for you. And take us up on it, because I'll tell you something. Boxing is not dead. It ain't going nowhere. There'll be some fights before you know it. You know what I'm saying? And when it comes back, you got to be ready for it. So just know that. Just know it. So yeah, we'll be enjoying one another out here and passing batons around, letting everybody know who's good to go and who's not. So just know we're going to do our part. Derek Bailey has joined us. He says, salute Stormy B-Man. Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens is in the chat right now. He says, salute my peoples. Trick Noty says, Drew Titan, Bronx on deck. Drew says, Stormy B-Man, I can chat for a bit. Yeah, you're welcome, man. Supreme Beast, Boxing Talk says, on the move, but I gotta show love. Salute, OG. Thank you, man. And for those of you who aren't aware, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Central Time, Supreme Beast Boxing Talk will be the next guest up on In the Eye of the Storm. So don't forget to check us out when we do that show in the morning. So as you see, we are really out here working and trying to uphold, the boxing conversation for you all out here in the community. That's right. Drew Titan is saluting at Nick. Trick Noty, I'm sorry. Reggie Owens says facts. And everybody else is saluting everybody. So, yeah, so this show, I changed the title because at first the title was, this is episode 61 of the Chop Session, by the way. And we're moving, we're progressing with this show, and I really appreciate all the love and support. But we were thinking about, with the title originally for tonight's show, drug testing, because I wanted to raise the conversation and thought process behind how PEDs are affecting the sport. And the fact that these fighters are on this hiatus, who may be taking advantage of this break to be abusing and maybe putting themselves in a position where they can cycle down when the sport resumes or something like that. And it's something to think about, because there are a number of fighters who we know when boxing was live and active, they were popping dirty left and right. So as we saw that taking place, it's worthy of a conversation in the sport, because some fighters will have to work hard to stay in shape because they blow up between fights. But some fighters may take the advantage of doing something dirty and in preparation for when the sport resumes. So we need to be conscious and aware of that, because remember, when the sport was active, guys who are in between fights or whatever, they still would be, if they were signed up for, VADA testing and things like that, the drops could come in any time. But since we're on this hiatus, the drops aren't coming. So you have to understand that illegal practices can be the norm right now. So, and I see my brother Drew has joined me here. What's going on, Drew? How you doing, bro?
How you doing, big bro? How's everything?
Oh, it's all good, man. I'm just a little bit excited because the progression of the channel, the love and support that's been coming in, and the fact that I've been able to be very much on point with producing, material on the regular. So I'm excited about that, because my focus has been just to bring quality. So, and I'm very proud of the show we did last night on Archie Moore, man. It was like that
was a blast. That was a blast.
Man, that was great. Scrapbook offered so much, man. And Kurt Sugar did as well. And the chat was very engaged. Man, it was a great show. And that's the kind of thing that Stormy B-Man wants to do. That type of material right there. Because and the people responded to it very positively as well.
Yes. Listen, when you guys do that show, I consider myself, I know a lot about boxing, but I'll be the first to say I don't know it all. My knowledge goes back to the 80s. I was a kid. The 90s, I was a teenager, and then into a young adult, and all the way to the early 2000s. And now I consider myself an expert from this generation in the 90s and some of the 80s. But when I really want to get an in-depth feel of what's going on, outside of listening to my uncle, who actually I wanted to add, my uncle Bill is the one that told me that Ray Robinson ducked Charlie Burley, and Ray Robinson told my uncle he wasn't going to fight him. He told him. They lived in the same neighborhood. And his words to me, and he told me this back in the 80s, and I asked him fairly recently. He said, oh, yeah, Charlie. He said he wasn't going to fight him. And when he asked him, he said, why were you going to fight him? He said, for what? He said, I'm not going to fight anybody I don't need to. He told my uncle that. That's how I knew about Charlie Burley. That's how I knew about him. That's how, when I started hearing the name later on, I'm like, where the hell do I know that name from? And I said, oh, shit, yeah, that's the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, when you guys get together and you start talking about boxing, I just listen. Because I don't know everything, and what, people don't know what they don't know, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And rather than, just try and prove that you know something and you know more than this person, sometimes it's better just to shut your mouth and listen. And when guys like you and guys like Kurt Sugar and especially Scrapbook, man, everyone goes sub to Scrapbook. He does a Forgotten Fisticuff series, and I'm telling you, everything is there that you need. He's up to like episode 750 something. Just go there. If you really love the sport, if you really want an education of the sport, go to his channel. View all 700 of those videos, man. I was on there, like I had to take a long drive last week, as a matter of fact. And I just hopped on his channel and I just played every video. I'm telling you, if there was a test on boxing, just on random history, you go to his channel and just listen. Just listen. Everything is there you need. And I really love the Three Wise Men of Boxing, man. I love this, just listening to you guys chop it up about the sport, man. I really do, because I learn more. There's always something that I hear, and I'm like, oh, shit, I didn't know that. You know what I mean? So, you guys are to be saluted for that. The LDBC, you guys are, like, man, I just get so excited for y'all shows, man. Because you learn so much, man. We're so much more than just, fighting with trolls and just, this is what we do. This is what we're really about, man. The core beliefs of the sport, man. This is what we do. This is what we're destined to do. This is what we're all about. And this is why we can't be duplicated. And this is why no one's really going to be able to take us down. We're a family. We're a cohesive unit. We don't agree all the time, but that's also what makes us special, because we're impartial. We're definitely impartial. We're definitely impartial. And again, we don't have to agree. We can have heated discussions, but we're all family. And this is just a beautiful thing, man. This is just a beautiful thing. And Stormy, I'm watching your channel grow right before my eyes. Right before my eyes, man. You're really doing excellent work. Your channel's growing. My channel, I just checked my channel. I'm one away from 600. I didn't even know that. I just haven't checked until like fairly recently. You know what I mean? But we're out here working, man. It's Stormy. I've referred people to your channel.
Appreciate
They're not LDBC. They're not LDBC or nothing. I'm like, they just like boxing. And I was like, yo, go to this channel, go to that channel. I referred them to your channel. I referred them to Scrapbook. You know what I mean? I referred my father to your channel and Scrapbook's channel. I wouldn't refer him to like a BFTB, because that's an acquired taste. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But my father's also in his 70s. You know what I mean? So, but Three Wise Men of Boxing and Scrapbook Boxing, that's like right up their alley. That's right up their alley. You know what I mean? And when Blood does his documentaries about the 80s, you know what I mean? I mean, this is what we do. This is what I enjoy. This is what I enjoy. I don't like dealing with trolls and things like that. This is what I'm used to. This is what I love. I deal with a troll if I have to. They come on my channel, I smack them, and that's the end of it. I don't play with my food like BFTB does. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you smack them,
BFTB has a different type of energy. He can deal with that. I get stressed with that stuff, but I enjoy what he does, because you got to have someone. It's like when you got an army, and you have soldiers who are committed and have a certain job to do, and then you have other soldiers that are committed to have another responsibility. And as a unit, as each people get met out with what their responsibilities are, that's how you cover the battle. And And see,
Right.
that's where we find ourselves out here, doing that same thing. I appreciate, what you said about, sending people to the channel. I've seen the numbers increase, and I'm like, wow, I'm really impressed, and it warms my heart because, like I said, I come out here to try to just be a part of the engine that runs. You know what I mean? And to
Right.
see the support and how the growth is happening right before my eyes, I'm very humble about that. And it's like that makes me want to do things and make my presentations better and everything. Like you see, I got this little setup right here and the visuals. It's not like, oh, I try to make it look like, if you were tuning into something on television or something. I'm trying
Right.
to,
Correct. Correct.
you
Yeah.
know what I mean? And present it in a manner that has respectability. That's all. It's like I ain't trying to like shine higher than someone else or whatever. It's just like, wow, you tune into that. It's like, okay, and having brothers like yourself on here, we all have done some things that we've worked in collaboration. I was sharing, the stream that we did together with someone a few days ago and said, hey, you got to go and check this out. If you haven't had a chance to listen to this talk because of what's been out lately, and,
Right.
now we're kind of hearing more sound bites from Deontay and stuff like that. So I've steered people in that direction to your channel to say, check that out, and things like that. So I just love how things are coming along, and we are always going to get tested. You know what I mean? But that's what championship medal is made of. It's like, if you're not tested, what's the use? You got to be able to be in the thick of things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I really,
I totally agree.
I really
totally
appreciate
agree,
that, and as I like tonight's topic, as I was alluding to, I was gonna start off talking about drug testing, then I changed it to recycle fighters, but I realized all of that is a part of the same thing at the end of the day when you get through the material to be discussed, because it's something that nobody's talked about. Wouldn't you agree when I say that, Vada was dropping tests on guys, popping up and everything, but during this hiatus, nobody's being checked. And guys can run amok. Have you thought about that much?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. They definitely can right now, because we don't know when this quarantine is going to be over. I mean, this might slow down over the summer. When it gets hot outside and people are going to drop their guard. I personally think this thing is going to come right back when it gets cold again, but that's another topic.
Yeah.
But it's going to die down. And right now, no one knows. I mean, there's a lot of everyone's like, thugging over the phone and over the internet, and I'll beat him up and I'll beat this guy's ass and I want to fight. You even got, some of the older fellas wanting to come out of retirement. I mean, we're hearing a lot of talking behind the scenes, and it makes you, I heard something about Oscar De La Hoya wanting to put hands on Conor McGregor. I mean, we're hearing a lot of weird stuff, and it makes you wonder. Right now, a guy like Dillian White, he could be cycling on something, and right when you hear, okay, this thing is going to open up in September, he could cycle off of it and still be having the lasting effects of whatever he's on.
Absolutely.
And cycle off of it so much to the point where it won't come up in his blood, but he'll still be strong from it. I know how this stuff works. So, and he's not the only one. These guys know how it works, man. These guys know how it works. And that's always going to be the problem. That's always going to be the problem. I mean, all these guys, man. Now, listen, Paulie, I mean, I hate speaking his name now, but let's talk about what he said. The guy said boxing is a dirty sport. He accused everybody of juicing. And you know what? When he said that, it's not impossible, because I know about these drugs, man. These drugs basically speak, without getting to the name of these drugs, if you cycle off of them, there's drugs that can have lasting effects, but you can cycle off of them, and it can have a lasting effect in you for up to 3 months. You can still have the speed, the agility, the reflexes, and it won't be in your bloodstream. But your enhanced performance won't leave your body for the next 4 or 5 months, and it won't show up in your bloodstream. But the damage is already done. You done had 2 fights in that time. You look like a superhero.
Yep.
You dig what I'm you dig what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So this is like it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. You know, so this is a very dangerous point. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are healing. You know, like the brother Deontay. There's a lot of guys that are just sitting around probably eating heroes all day. You're going to see a lot of guys that at middleweight that are going to balloon up to like 220 pounds and then try and have a weight loss camp when they have to get into the ring. There's guys that are getting in shape. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's tough, man. It's very, very tough. It's very, very tough, man. So, you know, we have to watch out for things like that, man. You know, it's real fugazi right now. It's real fugazi, man. It's real fugazi. I don't know.
See, and that's why I, wanted to draw attention to it, because it's one of those things that, a person like yourself or me or some of the other brothers that got channels and create content and everything, it'll be in the back of your mind. But something like this should always be toward the front of your mind, because there are people who can capitalize off of this quick, and before you catch on, the damage is already done. Remember, what you just suggested, it's like the disciplined guys are going to benefit from this most. You know why? Because they would have done the things that they're supposed to do to keep themselves ready. And that's where it's going to happen. It's like the guys who stay prepared and ready to do what they got to do. Now, you take a fighter like Canelo, for example. This layoff is quite similar to how he fights anyway, right? Once a year, basically 9, 10, 11 months, and in between what he may be doing, and we know that he's pop dirty. Let's just be real. He can benefit one way or another, whether he's going to contend at a higher weight. I know they said he's going to pretty much stay around, what did they say, 168 or something like that? But he could even drop down to a different weight and have something in his system to make him really strong, And so it's like it's going to benefit him to be able to do these things, and nobody can test him in between. Not only did they give him a freaking running start with saying that they're going to allow a certain percentage of that clenbuterol or whatever. I mean, you actually, that's licensed to cheat. And what would he be doing in his time off? You understand? Because let's just think about him for a moment. When he went into that Kovalev fight, coming off his fight prior to that, he had absolutely no body fat. Boy, he was ripped. He was freaking ripped. How do you go up 20 pounds and be ripped like that? Come on, man.
I'll tell you what. The same way he went 20 pounds up and got ripped like that, looking like a silverback gorilla, is the same way Roy Jones lost about 20 pounds of rip back down to fight Antonio Tarver. We got love for Roy, but you know what? When he went up to heavyweight, man, he was juiced. And I'll just go ahead and say it, man, because there was no reason. Roy was already talented, but he popped dirty in the past. I believe it was against Eric Harding, but the only reason, I believe it was Eric Harding. I could be wrong on that, but from what I understand, behind the scenes, this was before the internet and everything else. I believe Harding popped dirty also, so they just agreed to go. They went ahead and fought anyway.
Yeah.
So this guy, Roy, went up 20 pounds and fought John Ruiz. On fight night, he was about 199, but when he weighed in the day before, he was like 201 pounds or something crazy like that.
Right.
Came in on fight night at 199, and he beat Ruiz's ass. And then Tarver comes in and calls him out. He loses, damn near like 20 pounds of rip, like in 3 months or something. I forget how much time there was in between that fight, but he came in there looking like a drug addict, and he barely won that fight. And we all know what happened in a rematch. But
Right.
look, man, you don't lose muscle mass like that fast. You don't lose muscle mass like that fast, and you don't gain muscle mass like that fast. It doesn't work. So when you look at all of that, how else do you think Canelo, and they raise the levels of clenbuterol that could be found in the system? Come on, man. Where there's smoke, there's fire. We see what's going on. Why are they talking to us like this, like we're stupid? This is why I say, these guys should, the sanctioning bodies, they disrespected us as fans and they abandoned us a long time ago. But again, that's another topic for another time. That's another conversation. I'm just saying, Canelo was juicing, and it's disrespectful. It's dangerous, and we all know what it is. We're not stupid. We know what it is.
Absolutely. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the chat. We had Derek Bailey stop by, Corner Girl 66. I see you. Lala D is out there. The Underrated Darkness has joined us as well. Ronald Finkley, my man, is out there. Salute to everybody that's come in. If I didn't get your name just yet, forgive me. Then we also have Reggie Owens has joined us here on the panel. How you doing this evening, Reggie?
Man, I'm doing good, OG. Man, just sitting here tuning in, was listening to what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, man, appreciate you being able to make it. Do you have something you'd like to offer on what we're talking about currently? About this the fact that there's no drug testing right now, and the guys who normally cheat, this is like open season for them, but it's just the whole premise of the thing. And when boxing does resume, as Drew just alluded to, guys will be able to cycle off in enough time, because they're going to announce it when they can resume. So they'll be able to cycle off with enough time. So even when the testers come around or whatever, it's like they'll have a certain jump on being able to get this stuff out their system and still come in strong with the advantages. What do you have to say about that, Reggie?
No, you guys knocked it out the park, man. It ain't nothing. I'll be repeating exactly what y'all been saying, but no, you guys knocked it out the park.
Yeah. So, and as I was explaining earlier, I had originally titled this show, drug testing, and then I changed the title to Recycled Fighters, because basically that kind of goes hand in hand with the topics of the evening totally, because even with we've been hearing some conversation about some of these elder statesmen who have retired from the sport, talking about possibly coming back, even if it's not in boxing, whether it's going to be a bare fist thing going on or whatever. But I want to say this. Testing applies to that situation too, because think about it. What would a 50-plus-year-old guy be able to do under normal circumstances? Because Father Time is undefeated. But if you got a guy out there that's putting something in his body right now and is waiting for that time when they say, okay, we can resume and we can negotiate for this fight and make a contract for that fight, and now you have to look at it as like, okay, these guys are not coming in natural, because a natural 50-plus guy should be on his can somewhere. Even George didn't fight past 50. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what's going on? And you talk about the names. We've heard some big names bandied about. We've heard, Shannon Briggs. We've heard Mike Tyson. We've heard Evander Holyfield. We've heard James Toney. It's like these are big names from the sport. But these guys are 15, 20 years removed from their heydays. You know what I mean? So it's like, or even more than that, really. What do you guys have to say? I'll toss it right back at you, Reggie.
Man, it shows the buffoonery with some of these people with money, and that's really where it comes from. Being that anyone who can invest that kind of money and rather than giving it to new age fighters and give it to some novelty type acts going into the sport. And also, man, it just shows how careless these promoters are. Man, these dudes are old as hell, way past their primes, close to receiving Social Security, and you're trying to lure them in with money for the entertainment of some weird ass fans. Like, what fan base want to watch two old ass people get in there and bash it out? They way past their prime, man. You got a lot of young talent this money should be going to. And matter of fact, that ought to wake some of these damn young fighters up to realizing that these promoters who act like they ain't got money, that they got the goddamn money they can put up to make these damn fights. I just think it's foolishness, man. Nobody wants to see Tyson get in there and have to fight it out. Nobody wants to see a Holyfield get in there and fight it out. We enjoy what they done. They done been in wars. It's not the same, man. One of these old dudes, because in your mind, man, when you're a young warrior, sometimes that spirit never leaves you. It may go idle for a while, but it's always within you. A lot of these dudes think they are who they used to be. You take the wrong punch, it's a curtain call. Everything structurally has changed, especially when you're up in your damn 50s. And matter of fact, a lot of these pains come in your 30s. So ain't no telling when you getting up to 50 and you taking punches. And then especially if a cat like Shannon Briggs trying to compete, Shannon Briggs is... shit, he's juiced to the gills, so he's a different animal when it comes to age. And him getting there with a Tyson or something, he's putting Tyson in the Holyfield, and Tyson may be in a worse cognitive state than what he's already in. But it just shows the stupid sidedness of those with money, man. I don't look at nobody else but those who bring up this, who make the calls to these fighters to try to lure them back in the ring. Make these calls and trying to get us to other big fights that we want. That's where these dudes should be trying to pull the money into, but too much. They're doing too much of the KSI Logan Paul thing with the sport of boxing with X-style professionals and shit. But I don't know. It could be risky, man. It's foolish, but hey, I guess that's what happens when you're desperate for money. They willing to get in here and risk it and shit.
Yes, sir. And I want to acknowledge Renee Box Young out there in the chat. Salute to you for joining us this evening, brother. And Derek McGee, thank you for the PayPal donation. I see you out there, man. Drew, what are your thoughts and comments on that, about these elder statesmen coming back and the possibility that they could be on something too? Because they, right now, if they're talking about it and they start getting in there, getting a workout going or whatever, they're going to need some help. Because them old bones, man, you know what I'm saying? And recovery times and stuff like that. That's where it'll come in handy for them.
I'm back. Yeah, I got a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, some technical difficulties in my head real quick. But, yeah, if it's charity, because I'm watching the comment section, and I actually had this question, and I don't know. If it's charity, do they do drug testing? Because Mike Tyson smokes weed. He doesn't. It's no secret. And if he's going to do a fight, he's going to get drug tested. He's going to have weed in his system. So if it's charity, does the same drug testing apply? That's my first question. Well, my other question was not even a question; it's really a statement, but. Let me just get that question out there for you. I mean, are they going to do the actual drug testing if it's charity? Meaning, like, they probably going to get in with headgear anyway. Do they do conventional drug testing?
Well, I think because it's charity, there's a certain amount of licensing from the sport of boxing that is applied to that. So it's like, I don't think it would be scot-free from testing, but at the same time, hiding behind being a so-called charity exhibition. Come on, man. You saw the movie Rocky 3 where Apollo Creed got dusted off by Ivan Drago, and that was an exhibition, remember? Jack was saying, hey, this is supposed to be an exhibition. And Apollo was in there getting his head knocked off and ended up getting killed. Huh? And it's like, okay, art imitating life. I don't want to see that, but I know that there could be something that medically, it's like, dude, how far are they willing to go? Huh? And a person like Tyson, he takes special medications anyway that he didn't take way early in his career, but pretty much at the tail end of his career, they had him on stuff that was supposed to make him more docile and everything, so he don't get enraged and attack people and stuff. So it's like, you're actually gonna cycle him off of those drugs, and then he's on the weed. So if he's putting something else in his system to get in shape, I mean, because he can't get in shape like he was in 1987.
Absolutely not.
He was already physically strong, and we know he can punch like a bull. And the last thing to go is a fighter's punch. But imagine him now cycling on with putting something extra. Come on, man. It begs the question. We have to have that conversation.
Yeah, we absolutely do. We absolutely do. As far as these guys being too old to get in the ring and get it done, we all know that these guys, as fans, we like, all right, we see guys time and time again get in the ring, and we're like, yo, they don't need to do this shit anymore, man. They can get hurt, they can kill themselves, whatever. At the end of the day, these guys, they do what they want to do. But I'm a little biased as it stands right now, because how can I say this? There's something being done behind the scenes that I'm actually supporting. And, I'll just say that. There's something behind the scenes that I'm actually supporting and trying to get some things done. But again, it's a one-time thing. I guess I'll say I won't mind if an older fella gets in the ring with a guy in like his age, from his era, and they'll do something with headgear, whatever, and they can make some dollars. They make a couple of dollars. I do have a problem. Let's say Evander Holyfield comes back and he fights some top 60 guys and puts hands on them, and then he says, you know what, I'm going to make a run at the title. I'm going to try and get at Anthony Joshua. I'm going to try and get at Andy Ruiz. And it's like, whoa. Evander, chill for a minute. Hold on. That's when I'll be like, yo, pump the brakes. Stop it. Stop. I don't want to see you getting hurt now. All right. It was cute watching you beat guys that are just showing up for $500 paydays to buy some college books. I don't want you in there, $1 million payday against a young kid like Andy Ruiz where he's going to fuck you up. Against Anthony Joshua where he's going to fuck you up. I mean, let's keep it 110% honest. Evander's past it. All right. So if these guys are going to come back, I don't mind them fighting each other because they're from each other's era. They're basically each other's age. And if people are going to pay to see it and they have on headgear and everything else, that's fine. I mean, even without headgear, it's more of a fair fight. You understand what I'm saying? It's more of a fair fight if they're in there with each other, they're probably not going to try and kill each other. You know what I'm saying? They can make some money and get in and out with each other. But I have a problem if they start fighting guys in the top 60, look good, and then they say, you know what, I'm going to make a serious run. Pump your brakes. You're in your 50s. Stop. Don't do it. I don't want to see you hurt.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's something that, like I said, we put the conversation out there, but I don't like that the old guys may be wanting to take this opportunity to get that luster on them. We still have a lot of going on in the sport with the current era of guys that they need to get in here and shake it out. And we're not getting that. And I think that this kind of takes away from that a little bit. But again, charity, they could say whatever, but we want to see the real fighters fight each other, the current guys who should be out there going in against each other. Reggie, do you have something to offer on that?
No, but what you said, that's exactly what we want to see is the younger guys who should be fighting, who should be fighting the other elite level guys. And that's what I was saying. These promoters with the money who are offering these old guys that kind of money, they can put on these damn fights. They can sponsor these fights.
Absolutely.
Hell, they can. The money's out there and it's showing, and it should wake these damn fighters up to make their damn promoters open their damn pockets, because these promoters are trying to hold on to something else. I think these promoters are too busy trying to hold on to these title belts, don't know what comes along for them with these title belts, what additional money they're getting, but they rather open the pocketbooks to afford it to a Mike Tyson, who knows that they'll probably draw a big crowd of fans. Who knows what's the reason behind fans, but man, a lot of these fools act like people in the Roman Coliseum really want to watch some old cats bash their brains out. I don't see what can be the excitement to want to see Tyson get in there and fight. He's old, all because they see him on a YouTube video and think he got something. He looks great at 53. I'll admit that. He looked great on them damn pads, being able to do that at that age. But to get in there and box again, hell no, because I'm pretty sure after he finished that pads, he was in a lot of pain after that shit. But
Listen, man, in one of my favorite movies, Enter the Dragon, and Bruce Lee was out there about to fight that dude, O'Hara, right? And O'Hara takes the wooden board and he throws it up in the air and smashes it, and the board shatters, right? Bruce Lee looked at him and said, boards don't hit back. Now you see Tyson hitting them damn pads. Same principle. Pads don't hit back. Huh? And you look good doing that or whatever, but when it's a guy in there throwing punches back, absorbing what you offering and everything, and then you get a little fatigue, your legs feel like jelly and everything because you're tired and you're old, Tyson can easily be brought back to the remembrance of bouts against Danny Williams and Brian Nielsen, huh? Because he wasn't that far removed when he fought those guys, and he basically was like done then. So it's like, reinvigorated. You still will have to question, like, what is he putting in his body? What are you doing to be able to? Because I'm telling you, if you think Michael Jordan can go out there and do what he used to do right now, I think he about the same age as Holyfield, 57 or 58, something like that. Dominique Wilkins. If you think them guys can go out there and do what they used to do, got another thing coming, man. But again, like you just said, the people that the promoters and all that, they'll find the money to put those matches on for those guys. But how come they can't find that money to put these matches on for these brothers that's out here today? Huh? It's like, put some money behind them, promote them, which is what your job is, and put them out there so people can see what they can do and people can pay to see the fights. I don't want to see those guys. They're history now. You know what I mean? Even in exhibitions, I don't even care. Somebody go videotape it or somewhere. Don't put it on nothing live where it's streamed or whatever. Just move them to the side. Get the real fighters out there. They had their freaking day already. Huh? That's the other thing that troubles people about Floyd Mayweather. He's still trying to, take away from what's happening currently. It's like, man, go sit your butt down somewhere. You said you retired, be retired. It's like, come on. But, this whole thing, and I know Drew say he knows some things that's happening behind the scenes, but I'm just saying, it's like, come on, man. Come on. But that's kind of like what I had to say about that, man. But I have a question that I would like to pose to you two brothers here and to the chat, because we like when the chat is engaged. And the question is, who do you think will be ready to go when boxing resumes? What fighters could you name that you think will be ready to go when the sport resumes? Now, that's casting aside who could possibly be doping and this and that, but fighters who were maybe making their way before all this went down, because it's been the year of the upset too, but who might have taken advantage of their layoff? Do you have some ideas on that, Drew?
Absolutely. I think Errol Spence will be ready to go. because of what he went through. And, you know, you got to take, I always mention failing in life, not only in the sport, but failing in life is important because you got to learn how to fail forward. The loss that Deontay Wilder suffered, it was meant to happen. And this layoff is working to his advantage because it gives him time to reevaluate who he has around him. And you can see things when you have time to relax. It's sort of like when you have an argument with a significant other or a close friend, and then something happens and y'all stop speaking for a second. And that's like for the greater good because you calm down, you get to see things. Maybe you may see who was wrong. Maybe you'll see something that they missed, and you could come with a cooler head, and cooler heads prevail. You understand what I'm saying? So it's very similar. That's why I'm saying boxing is relatable to life. You understand? So now, I think a guy like Spence, the accident happened. Now, just feel me on this. I'm not saying it was good for him or whatever. What I'm saying is sometimes things happen for a reason. And I think that accident happened for a reason. It put him in the right frame of mind now. You know, I'll be, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but if he's smart, he slowed down the partying and the drinking because you saw it beginning to consume him. You saw it beginning to consume him, and he's brilliant in the ring. But in the Porter fight, we saw he could have did a lot better. And then we found that he got away from Blu-ray, which is why there were certain things you saw in the fight that, you know, he could have done better. And then he revealed that he got away from Blu-ray, which means his cardiovascular training changed. Little things like that. And we saw some, I didn't see the same spark that he had in the Porter fight, although he won it. And then after the fight, he said, yeah, you know, I wasn't with Blu-ray. I was like, oh, there it was. That one itsy bitsy change. And then he crashes up his car, stoned from the vehicle, but he did. And
plus he said,
you know what I'm saying? And it's a miracle that he walked away from that thing. Like literally the worst that happened in the hospital was dental. It was oral. And he walked away from that, didn't break a bone. It's crazy. So, you know, what I think is he took all of that into consideration. He counted his blessings. He prayed to who he worshiped. And I think that this time off is going to be good to him. He's not going to gain any weight. He's going to be back in the gym because he knows everyone's doubting him. And whoever's in his way, when he gets into that ring, I hope they're prepared because he's going to go looking to make a statement. He's going to go looking to make a statement. That's only one guy who I think is going to be ready. Another guy I think that's taking this layoff seriously is guys like Terrence Crawford, because he hears what we're saying, and he don't want to get caught with his guard down. So he's going to stay in shape. You know, the guys like Gary Russell, these guys are going to stay ready. And you know, but there's a bunch of guys that I don't know about. That was like, oh my God, you know, all this time off, they're thinking it's time to, you know, Krispy Kreme it up. You know what I mean? But I'm going to say a guy like Gary Russell, guys like Errol Spence, guys like Bud Crawford, those guys are going to be ready. Deontay Wilder, they're going to be ready. But I'm really excited about Errol Spence, man. You want to talk about a second chance at life, man. I mean, I know when he was in that hospital, he was like, you know, the fact that I could feel my fingertips and wiggle my toes and there's no broken bones and I just got my teeth knocked out. This is crazy. Somebody put their hands on me. So you know what? I'm going to pay it back by living right. I'm going to pay it back by living right. So I think Errol's going to be a dangerous dude to deal with. He's going to be a dangerous guy to deal with. And he's going to be a guy that's going to come back in shape. He's going to be looking like Bruce Lee when he take his shirt off. And Stormy, I remember that scene. That's one of my favorite scenes. O'Hara hits the board to Bruce. He said, boards don't hit back. And he whooped his ass. He got that ass whooping because that so happened to be the dude that was responsible for his sister committed suicide.
Yeah, yeah.
He whooped his ass. That's one of my favorite scenes in the film. Boards don't hit back.
And it stands. You know, it stands because it's like all that don't mean nothing. We getting ready to get busy right now, you know. But Reggie,
by
what are
the
your
way,
thoughts?
wait, real quick. By the
Yeah.
way, Stormy, before you move to Reggie, if you looked online, you saw Andre Berto emulate that same combination that Mike threw, and he looked just as good doing it. And he's like a decade and a half younger than Mike. So really think about what you're seeing, people. And Mike, look, I hit pads all the time, and I look good hitting the pads. But let me tell you something. You want to tell if someone's in shape? Tell them to jump rope for 3 minutes straight. Jump rope for 3 minutes straight, and then watch them when they're done. Jump rope for 3 minutes straight. I jump rope. Well, I haven't jumped since I had my injury, but I jump rope for 3 minutes straight. And you can tell a lot about a person. If you can do that about 6 rounds, 3-minute rounds, jump rope for 3 minutes straight for 6-minute rounds, and then just look at them. I don't think Mike at his age, I don't think he could do it. He looked good hitting those pads, man, but that's hitting pads. And something totally different.
And you know what else about that, Drew? He ain't going to have to win because he smoked.
That's right. See?
He ain't going to have to win. Is he smoked?
Yeah.
That takes that away instantly. He got to clean his lungs out first. And remember this, when he was training to fight Lennox Lewis, Freddie Roach was working with him. No, I'm sorry. That wasn't Lennox Lewis. It was someone else. I think it was either France Botha, one of those guys. It was before he got to Lennox, when Freddie Roach was in his corner because he had Ronnie Shields with Lennox Lewis.
It was Clifford Etienne.
Yeah. Freddie Roach was training him, and he got out of the ring with Freddie Roach after a grueling session of pad work and threw up. You know, he was in such bad shape. Now, this is a guy who was the former undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. And Freddie put him through a workout that made him throw up. We're talking about Freddie Roach here. You know, it's not, so Mike been flying at less than half mast a long time.
That's right.
And you come in there, everybody know he punched hard. So, yeah, he hitting those pads with that little bitty guy holding them for him and everything. Come on, man. I ain't buying those apples, man. They rotten. But I'm sorry, Reggie, I wanted to get to you and your thoughts on what we were just talking about.
Oh, about the fighters who going to be ready when we come back?
Yeah, who in your mind, who do you have in your sights that you think could be ready when the sport resumes?
Man, to be honest, I think majority of these top guys are in shape. I'm even seeing videos of Tank. I don't know if these are new videos or if they're old, but I'm seeing a lot of videos of Tank looking like he's in the gym. So if a seesaw type dude like him is in the gym, I think a lot of these guys are. I think a lot of these, sometimes when things are taken away from you, is when you begin to gain appreciation for what you had and what you took for granted. So I think a lot of these dudes are going to come back with that hunger, with that dedication to the sport. I think, that's just the way I see it. And that's just what I'm seeing on social media. They can't do shit. They got no other choice but to try to whip themselves in shape. And especially with them being in situations of, getting a simulation of what life is like when ain't no money coming in. And I don't think a lot of them liked it. I think it was a little painful for a lot of them. So for them to prolong their careers when it returns, they got to take the craft serious. And I think it's going to push a lot of these guys to becoming committed to this game. So I think it's a lot of folks out there. I want to see all of them. I don't got favorites. My favorite retired.
Lennox. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But you know what? I don't know that I agree with you as far as you think they're all going to be ready. Dude, this is going to be a truth-telling moment when the boxing resumes. Because don't forget, a lot of guys, even before we come into this point where the sport is put on hiatus, a lot of guys weren't taking it to the max to begin with. A lot of them were not. Let's use Dillian White as an example. Ever since he lost to Anthony Joshua, Dillian White has gotten progressively bigger and bigger and bigger. His weight gain since the fight against Joshua has been tremendous. And don't forget, who was that he fought? Wash in that last fight that was over there in Saudi or whatever on that undercard. Yeah, that guy was touching him up. He was hanging over the ropes at moments during the fight, and he came in at damn near 300 pounds. He was pretty much the same weight Tyson Fury was when Fury fought Wilder in the rematch. Do you guys remember that?
Oh, I remember. He looked extremely out of shape, and that's what I'm saying. He cycled off.
Yeah, he was like 270 pounds, bro.
Yeah,
that's what he weighed in for that fight. What did Tyson Fury weigh in? 273 or something for Wilder too?
Nah, that guy at Fight Night, he was clearly like 300 pounds, man. Clearly.
Yeah, Fight Night. But I'm just talking about Dillian weighed in at 270 pounds against Wash. But what was he when Fight Night? I don't think he skipped a meal.
Not at all. That was disgusting. The way he came when he took his shirt off, I said, what the hell's wrong with him? Did he train? Look at his body type in his last fight and look at when he fought AJ. That's like about a 50-pound difference, man.
That's what I'm getting at. So with this time off, you think that he's really trimming down?
Nope.
What was the first segment of the show about? PED use.
Yeah.
Yep.
But this is the funny thing. And I've said this What was that?
I was saying he can be shedding off a lot of that unnecessary weight right now with VADA, nobody testing. Ain't no telling what they doing back behind the scenes. I think a lot of that drugs is in a lot of these folks' systems right now.
Yeah, man. I mean, I just used him as an example because of the weight. You see what I'm saying? That shows how lazy he is. And with this time off, I have no reason whatsoever to believe he's so damn dedicated. He in there trying to stay fit. He's in shape. He's working hard. Bull crap. No, he ain't. And those are the guys that you need to be watching when the sport resumes, because what I was just about to say is this. You got guys like him, they take PEDs and everything and still come in looking like crap. PEDs don't really work like that. You know, they ain't gonna do the work for you. You still gotta do some work. It's like, and I mean, Drew is a fitness man. He could tell you, it's like just putting it in there in your mouth. That's like people, you know, trying to do a diet, you know, and they say, well, you know, I'm gonna eat this, but you're eating too much of whatever you're eating, and it defeats the whole purpose. If you eat something that stimulates the metabolism and get you burning, and then you start moving, that's how you're going to lose weight. It ain't going to just you put something in your mouth, and then I'm going to take these diet pills. Am I right, Drew?
No, you're absolutely right, man. I've known guys that make that mistake all the time. Like, yo, I'm going to pop these steroids, and I knew a guy that, man, I don't know what the fuck I found out what it was, but he would take the shot right through the goddamn hip, through the jeans, through his jeans, and it like injected like in the side of his butt. And before he went into the gym, man, this guy, ridiculous. He was strong, but then eventually, you know, he caught like 2 heart attacks, and he don't look like the same guy now. I'm amazed that he's alive, but you know, you can't just. All right, now check this out. A guy like Michael Phelps. I don't know if you ever saw his diet routine, but the guy consumed about close to 10,000 calories in a day. But if you see his frame, and he's built like a damn superhero, he's also in the water, swimming all day, training all day, and burning off all of those calories. So he needed those calories for fuel. But a person who consumed those calories sitting on the couch all day, they're going to die because they're not moving. You understand? Steroids and all these PEDs, they work the same exact way. You say, okay, I'm going to take these steroids. I'm going to cycle on these steroids. I'm just going to do 10 push-ups a day, and that's it. dude, you're going to kill yourself. You're going to get all bloated in the neck and you're going to have a heart attack and die. These things only get activated when you're putting the body through a certain amount of trauma. And if you're not doing it, you're just going to die. Well, you're going to die anyway if you abuse it. You know, but it's just crazy. So with Dillian White, the reason why he got all fat as hell was because the drug testing got a lot more real and his eating habits never changed. And his work ethic was half-assed as it's always been. And see, that's another thing. You can also half-ass your work ethic and look double as good as if you were working hard the whole time. And it don't go that way. What happened was his half-ass work ethic remained the same. He probably was in the gym just hitting mitts, barely did any cardio work. And he just rose to the level of his competition, right? And he cycled off the steroids, and then he wasn't burning fat the same. So he had some muscle tone, but the food, his intake was still high. So he came in there and he look at the AJ fight, look at his build in the AJ fight, and then look at when he fought Marius Wack. There is a 50-pound difference.
Absolutely.
50 pounds. It's disgusting.
And only a couple of years in between. So it's like, dude, that's what happens to guys like you were playing in the NFL and then you've been retired for 10 years.
Right.
You know?
That's disgusting. You're not supposed to look like that. Dillian White was supposed to look like, well, first of all, you're not supposed to look like that at all.
Right.
But as a professional athlete at a championship level, calling out these names, he's supposed to look better than that. I've never seen Evander Holyfield out of shape. Okay? Yeah. I've never seen that. I've never seen this guys you don't see. Now, Deontay Wilder, that's just his frame.
Right.
That's just how he looks. So there's certain things that he didn't do. All right? A guy like Floyd Mayweather, he has to eat to maintain 147 or 154, whatever he's fighting at, because when he did that little bid in jail, he didn't eat the same, and what happened? He dropped down to like 135. That's his natural build. But these guys at heavyweight, you know, they walk around. What they come in to weigh in as, usually that's not their walking around weight. I guarantee you, when Tyson Fury retires, he's going to balloon back up to 400 pounds. Why? Because he's not going to be in the gym anymore. That 400 pounds is what he's going to be used to. He's a big old bloke. That's just what he is. You know what I'm saying? I saw a picture fairly recently of Mark Too Sharp Johnson. I said, holy shit. I had to look twice. I didn't know that was him. You understand?
Yeah.
So you gotta work extra hard. And for you to look like that at this level, you're supposed to be at a championship level. You looking like that? You looking like that on a championship level? That is disgusting. Never mind what he's talking. I'm not talking just because I'm not a fan of his. I'm putting all that aside. All right. If I'm at a championship level, this is your job. You're getting paid millions of dollars to fight. You need to be committed to this. If you're not committed, you're going to get dumped on, and you're going to get dumped in the morgue. You could die in there if you're not taking care of yourself. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. The Dillian White that fought Marius Wack, if he got in the ring with AJ, if he got in the ring with Tyson Fury, if he got in the ring with Deontay Wilder, they'd have knocked his damn head off. He wouldn't even go in there against Joseph Parker again looking like that. Because anybody of note beats him.
I totally say it like this. He wants to fight, Dillian White wants to fight Wilder so bad, right? All Wilder would need to do is circle him in the ring, you know, like Ali used to move on his toes and move around. I'm not saying for Wilder to move like Ali, but just circle around and make him chase you. He gonna be tired by round 2 or 3. And then you just hit him with the right hand and knock him out because
knock him right out.
He ain't gonna be able to keep up. He ain't gonna be able to keep up. He won't have no win. I'm telling you, against Marius Wash, he was leaning over the ropes, panting, man. He was in a clinch.
It was disgusting.
The ref
man.
broke him, and he grabbed a hold to the rope like this, and he was breathing all heavy. I'm like, that dude is out of shape like a son of a gun. It's just that Wash couldn't punch. But he was touching White up, but he couldn't put him away. If that was a 15-round fight, White would have fell out from exhaustion.
Forget it. Forget that guy, man. Forget that guy. That guy That guy's, when I saw him, when he took the shirt off, I said, what the hell's wrong with him? Is he sick? What's wrong with him? You're not taking, you show me you serious. Show me you're serious leading up to the fight. You know a guy, and in this day and age, you got Instagram and everything else. You know when these athletes are serious, when they on Instagram with their shirt off and you see them working. You're like, okay, this guy's serious. You didn't see that with this clown. He talk, and then fight night he takes off his shirt. He got, he got titties bigger than Dolly Parton in her prime. It's disgusting. Just flat out disgusting, man. He should know better than that.
And I want to ask something. You mentioned my favorite fighter. You never saw Holyfield out of shape. Well, I did, and I realized this, after having watched him for so many years. Evander Holyfield began to cut corners in his training. And one of the things he stopped doing was running. And it showed. Because that's the easiest thing to do as a boxer to stay in shape is to run. Run every day. And when Evander stopped running, he depended on standing there trading with guys and planting his feet. When he was running, he was moving around the ring on his toes a little bit. So all you got to do go back and look at his fights when he was moving on guys, circling them, giving them angles and stuff. That's when he was running. When he stopped running, look at how flat-footed he fought. Ready to receive shots.
Are you talking about that's right. I always wanted to ask you that. Was that around the time when he fought James Toney? He stopped running?
Oh, it was way before that. Let me tell you something.
Right.
Emmanuel Stewart revealed in the fight against Bo, the rematch, because, he trained with Emmanuel for that fight. Emmanuel talked about Evander didn't like to run anymore. Okay, so I know he did it with Emmanuel, and what he would try to substitute running, believe it or not, was dancing, because he liked to dance.
Right.
But this is the thing. It's not the same thing as far as you can dance and, be sweating and stuff from dancing. But for boxing, you're using your legs and your cardio and everything in a different manner. And you have to have that place where you can pick your breath up, you can, let it down, and then you have to be able to maintain it. Dancing ain't going to help with that, but running will. And I always ask guys, do they prefer to run for distance or for time? Because if you're running within time, you have you got to beat that clock. So that means the pace got to be at a certain degree. If you're running for distance, then you could you could pick it up a little bit, you could drop it down, you could sprint, you could slow it back down, you could get your steady pace going or whatever, fast pace going. But when you're running for time, say you're doing a 5-mile run and you want to be done in 30 minutes or less, 28 minutes or something like that, you got to move. So, but that's. So way before he faced Toney, he had stopped running. Way before.
I remember he was working out with Lee Haney as far as weight training to keep weight on. I do remember that.
Yeah.
And I always wondered, I said, because, I love bodybuilding and I love boxing, but those two trainers completely contradict one another. So I was like, I don't know if that's the correct move, but hey, he's a professional. I guess he knew something I didn't know.
Well, I know Haney got busy with whatever he was doing in his career, so he put Holyfield on to Chaz. What's the guy's name? Chaz something. Do you remember that guy? He had a curl, long curl. I don't know if it's Chaz Martin or Chaz Jordan, something like that. That's who the guy was after Holyfield had turned heavyweight and been at heavyweight for a couple of fights, because Haney couldn't stick around with him because he had other commitments. But it was a thing where I would say roughly I'm trying to think about who he fought in what succession. We might be talking about going all the way back to just after Burt Cooper, around the Burt Cooper fight, because he fought George Foreman first, and then I think it was Cooper, and then it was I don't know the schedule off the top of my head anymore.
Was it Bobby Shez? He fought Bobby Shez in the middle of that, I believe.
Yeah, well, you remember the Michael Moorer fight. He looked very lackluster in that fight, and lethargic in the first fight that he fought with Michael Moorer. Teddy Atlas even noticed it in the corner, because he told Michael Moorer, he's like, look, something's wrong with that guy. You go out there and put it on him and get rid of him, or he going to win this fight and lose his next one. He could see it. Right. There was something wrong with Holyfield. So, but yeah, I'm sorry, Reggie, you've been awfully silent, bro. You want to chime in with something?
No, man, I'm learning, because a lot of stuff I don't know, so I'll sit back in the cut and listen, man. Don't ever worry about that, man. When like I said, I'm a student to a lot of stuff, so I'm sitting back learning.
I'm laughing at Lala D's comment in the chat. She said, if he had a curl, he doesn't deserve for Stormy to remember his name.
Oh, man.
You guys in the chat are funny, man. That is hilarious.
I just pulled it up on BoxRec. It was Bobby Shez. He fought Mike twice after that. Then in '97 he fought Michael Moore.
Okay.
Then it was Vaughn Bean. I remember that. That was on Showtime. Okay. And he beat him UD. And then there was the Lennox Lewis fights. So you're saying he stopped running around. It was probably the Riddick Bowe fight, right?
Yeah, the first Riddick Bowe fight. That's what I was thinking.
Okay. Yeah. Because he got a good showing against Ray Mercer.
I didn't hear you.
He had a good showing against Ray Mercer, but see, Ray Mercer was known for not showing up in shape himself.
Exactly. Kurt Sugar and I had a great conversation about Ray Mercer when he fought Lennox Lewis, Reggie's boy. That he came in woefully out of shape for Lennox. If it was a different opponent, that would have been okay. But for Lennox, he was not at his best, and the fight was razor thin close. If he had come in shape, he would have beat Lennox. And, that just showed that Ray didn't have that next level, And against Holyfield, he thought he would go in and overwhelm Holyfield with strength and his power. But Holyfield is the worst guy in the world at that time when he was fighting to, you try to knock him out. That's the worst thing you could try to do, because he got heart. He got determination. He got gumption. He'll rise to that challenge. Holyfield was the type of fighter, you have to be slick with him. You have to slick him. You got to outsmart him. You understand? Outbox him. That's why Bowe beat him. Bowe boxed him on the outside and made Holyfield try to come on the inside, where Bowe excelled. So it's like he outboxed him on the outside, made him I'm going to get close to him. Well, Bowe relished that because he was a bigger, stronger guy. But it was always the guys who tried to knock Holyfield out that had trouble. Michael Moore boxed the shit out of him in the first fight they fought. Moore kept that southpaw jab on him, kept him on the outside. Again, this is, it speaks to the notion of fights and styles and things like that. But that's how it played out. But getting back to Ray Mercer, Ray Mercer just thought he could, because everybody talk about he's a blown up cruiserweight. Talking about Holyfield. But by the time he fought Ray Mercer, he had 10 fights at heavyweight? 12? It ain't like he was a little bitty dude no more.
Yeah, he was a full-blown heavyweight. He came into it.
Yeah, he grew into that. So, and that was proven when he dropped Bowe in that third fight with a single left hook to the jaw. That was a perfect punch. Bowe went down. Bowe didn't even know he was going down. He hit the canvas and was like, whoa. And when he tried to get up, he stumbled. Huh? What'd you say?
He looked like a rocking chair. The way he fell, it was like a rocking chair.
Yeah, but he did a smart thing. When he got up, he went to the corner where the ropes and turnbuckle was, and kind of braced himself up against there. Because if he had stayed in the middle of the ring, Holyfield would have knocked him out. But he was able to stand up there and cover up and kill time and everything. It was smart by Bo. And then he got Holyfield a couple of rounds later, man. But yeah, that was great stuff. I want to move on really quickly to the next question that I had. The next question that I have is, what about the fighters who may be willing to drop the belts? The pros and cons of that. In other words, to try to show these sanctioning bodies that they can't manipulate them. If you become a champion and say like a Jamal Charlo at middleweight, he pretty much is the man, even though he hasn't had a coronation. But let's just say if he fought a guy like Andrade, okay, and beat him or whatever, then the next thing they would do is call out for someone else for him, like a Canelo or something like that, or Billy Joe Saunders or whatever. Someone they say, oh, it's a named fighter, he deserved that named fight. But if he were able to show himself to be bigger than the belt that they awarded him, because don't forget they awarded him that belt. Reggie, what do you think about that?
Yeah. Oh, and you saying what would a fighter be? The pros and cons of him dropping a belt?
Yeah. Because of how the sanctioning bodies have showed the unfairness in the sport. I mean, look at Franchon Discern. She still ain't get her belt back. What are they waiting for? And what they've done, like Jose Sulaiman's son, Mauricio, he's out there talking about if Wilder loses again, he's done. And I mean, this man just defended the title 11 times. And you so disrespectful like that. So if the fighters begin to do what they're supposed to do, get in there, fight who they're supposed to fight, they don't need those damn belts. But what do you think about it, pro and con?
I don't see too many cons in a fighter dropping a belt, because you got a lot of champions who ain't viewed as shit in the sport. I think what matters most is to how people may view a fighter, how popular a fighter may be, and that's how it's always been. It ain't about these belts, because many fans don't know ish about these belts. They don't know they don't even know the different organizations that hold these belts. I think fighters put too much value on belts. Fans don't care about it. Fans care about who their fighters are, and because they live through their, you kind of live vicariously through these fighters. You look for the success of these fighters. True mano a mano shit. That's what people look forward to when they see these guys get in the ring. We don't care about their damn belts. Even in these classic fights I've been watching, I don't care two shits about none of the belts they've earned. None of the belts. I always cared about knowing who's the best guys that are out there, seeing them get in the ring, and coming to a conclusion of who's best on this night, who's going to be best on the next night if they rematch it. I think there's a lot of positivity if fighters go about dropping a belt. Fighters have to do their job with promotion, and these damn promoters have to do a job. These promoters ain't doing ish. I don't even know why a lot of fighters carry promoters, but not to sway off the topic, but they don't need these belts at all. If you have a name, your background, what you do inside that ring is proving it, and you're making enough rumblings, you talking big ish, your name carries more value than the belt. Your performances in the ring carries more value than the belt. And matter of fact, when they wrap this ain't like the UFC where their belts may mean something, but over in boxing, the belts don't mean nothing, man. They don't mean a damn thing. When you barely recognize the fighters when they put the belts on them after they won a fight. You care more about watching the replay and them speaking about how they went about the knockout, how they viewed the fight. But other than a WBC, IBF, WBA, WBO, whoever's out there from my personal opinion, it doesn't mean nothing. Those who, when I talk boxing, if they're casual, whatnot, we never have conversations about a belt. But I think fighters can definitely do away with it. They have to build their names up. They have to do a better job of building themselves up within their local markets where they come from, and also with how they recognize internationally. So they have to make their presence, their presence. They have to make their presence known. They have to get out here and show themselves to the damn public. Ain't like they're wearing helmets like football players. People should know who these guys are. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, okay. What do you have on that, Drew? Fighters, willing to drop the title belts, pro and the conditions of pro and con on that.
Well, I agree with Reggie 100%. I'm gonna tell you a quick story. I like talking with casuals because it's hilarious. Because they will argue you down like they know the sport of boxing, and they really don't know who they're talking to. Like I'm very arrogant when it comes to certain quote unquote fans, and you can tell 2 seconds whether someone's real or not. And I'll never forget, I was at work and this kid asked me, he said, "Yeah, man, I don't care about Wilder, this, that, and the third." I said, "Okay." But he's the biggest Floyd Mayweather fan, right? So I said, "All right, so listen." I said, "Listen, man, wow," and I just made this up. This dude started talking about, yeah, Floyd got all the belts. He got all those belts. You see that green? He got all the belts. So I said, "So what? Deontay Wilder got all the belts." And I'm bullshitting at this point, right? First thing he should have said was, "No, he doesn't." But he didn't say that. He just kept saying, "So." I said, "Yeah, man, he got the WBC, the WBO, the IBF, and he got the NBA on NBC. And he got the NABO." And I just started making up all these alphabet titles. And he said, "That don't mean nothing." And I just stared at him like, God damn, there's a million of these guys running around out here rooting for other fighters. I just said he has the NBA on NBC belt. What was that? And I said it so I didn't even say it like fast. I said, he got the NBA on NBC belt. It went right over his fucking head. I said, "Oh my God, and that's the type of guys that support or hate on fighters. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I'm very, 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 very clear when I say a brother like Wilder, when he knocks Fury's head off, take that belt and throw that shit in the garbage. I don't pay to go see the WBC. If the WBC throws an event at the Barclays and they say, "Yo, WBC, we're having a boxing event," and don't put no names up there, who are you going to see? WBC event, boxing. Are you going to that event if there's no names up there? WBC boxing event, July 4th. Barclays Center, Brooklyn. Why would I go there? I don't know who's there. I don't know who's going. But now you attach your name to it. Deontay Wilder. Now you can sell some seats. I mean, as much as we hate Floyd, he said these belts don't pay the bills. In fact, depending on your income bracket, they'll leave you high and dry. Now, I don't know how much a sanctioning fee costs, but I do know that Carlos Baldomir won a belt and had to give it up because he couldn't afford the sanctioning fee. I do know that Glenn Koff Johnson, he won a belt and had to give it up because he couldn't afford the sanctioning fees. So why me as a fighter, who's some of these guys, they don't even see $1 million paydays. Can you imagine you fighting and you making $10,000 on fight night, and you're clearly the underdog against some IBF champion? He comes in out of shape or whatever. You get lucky. You land the right hand, knock him on his ass. You made $10,000 that night. He was guaranteed $3 million. Now you're the champion, and the sanctioning fee is $8,000. What? You had your heart set on that $10,000. Why? Because $5,000 of that has to go to your camp, your cut men, your hotel fees, your manager, and you got a mortgage and a car note and 2 kids in college. Now you got to pay a sanctioning fee. But oh wait, I know. Now you're the champion. You got to give this guy an immediate rematch. So now you got to negotiate. Okay, I'm the champion now. I need more than 10,000 in this next fight because I'm still going in the underdog. Because people always say they're already saying the guy knocked out is out of shape and he just had an off night and it's nothing I did. You're not going to credit me. It's nothing I did. So now I need to go in there. I need to guarantee at least $1 million. Come on, guys. And that's going to be a fight to get that. If you remove the sanctioning fees, because you got to pay your trainer, you got to pay your cut man, you got to pay your team. Why the fuck you got to give $250,000 of a sanctioning fee? And I'm just throwing a number out there. I don't know how much it is. But it's a lot easier to pay a six-figure sanctioning fee when you've made $40 million in a night. But still, I'm frugal. I want all of my money or as much as possible. If I look at a sanctioning fee and this is $40,000, come on, man. I know civil servants in New York that don't make $40,000 in a year. You kidding me? That hurts. Doesn't that like blow your mind when an NBA player gets called for a flagrant foul, gets suspended 2 games, and he cursed out the ref, and you say he was fined $20,000, and he's on the news laughing about it? Like, nigga, that was $20,000. What the fuck is so funny? Oh, yeah, his contract says he makes $100 million this year. Oh, okay. That's not real life to me, man. I can't comprehend shit like that. Yeah. So with these fighters, I don't care about these sanctioning fees, and these sanctioning bodies abandoned us as fans a long, long time ago. Evidence of that is the WBC. They're moving the goalposts for a guy like Canelo Alvarez. They up the level of control that can be found in his system. Because I doubt if a black fighter gets caught with that same amount in his system, they ain't gonna do the same. They ain't gonna treat him the same way. But that's another topic. I'm just saying this is what the WBC has done. They moved the goalposts. Okay, so I don't have no love for them anyway. Deontay, get the belt back, throw that shit in the garbage. All right. I would show love for AJ if he defends his title and says, you know what, I don't need these belts. I'm the man. What am I paying these belts for, man? Give them away. Let Joe Joyce and Joseph Parker fight for them. I don't care about them. Throw them the talent. We paid to see the talent, not the sanctioning bodies. They shit on us years ago. And that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. There are a lot of pros to dropping those belts, and they all reside alongside in favor of the fighters. They have been tricked into believing that those trinkets mean something. No, what means something is when you go out there and you fight the best opponents that are available and you're able to conquer. When you conquer, the people come. They will pay to watch you. If you have a certain charisma to go along with your success in fighting, there will be people who want to see you lose. But guess what they're going to do? They're going to pay to see it. They will show up, butts in the seats, because they want to see you lose. The sanctioning bodies got you thinking that those trinkets mean something because they put that idea out there that means that you're the champ. But a championship quality of a fighter is to go out there, to put it on the line, to persevere, to overcome, okay, and to state their claim. And when that takes place, the people notice it. They see it, you know. Remember the fight that took place between Errol Spence and Sean Porter. Going into the fight, Earl had his following and everything, and people were talking about, man, he's gonna get Spence out of. He's gonna get Porter out of there, and this and that. And Porter come in as an underdog and everything. But when these two fighters fought for their unification, what happened is you saw fighting spirit, championship quality spirit coming from both men. And people came out of the fight, newfound respect for Sean Porter, newfound respect for Earl Spence. They had an endorsement of, this was good theater. We want to see something like this again. See, the fact is, they could have fought each other without belts on the line, and you still would have got that same effort from the men. You see, that's the pro for the sport. The con is what the sanctioning bodies are running on the people and the fighters. That's the real con.
Now I agree. That's the scam. That's the scam, and I call it a scam because I always believe that, man. Always believe that. Who cares about these belts? But the scam is they put so much prestige on their titles, man. They put some of the. I remember once upon a time the WBO was running things, and then I remember before that the IBF, if I'm not mistaken, was the prestigious belt to have. And even when I was a youngster and I began to understand the game, I'm like, why are these guys fighting for these straps? You know what I mean? No one cares about these straps. Well, I don't care about these straps. I want to see these guys fight, man. I remember Antonio Tarver and Glenn Johnson put business aside just so they could fight. They put business aside just so they could fight. And I applauded them for that. And what did they have in common? They both knocked the shit out of Roy Jones when he was seemingly unbeatable at that time. So they put business aside so they can get their shit in the ring. And I'm like, you know what? The fans need to appreciate that behavior. They made that fight happen because, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, there was all kinds of hurdles that were trying to be erected in front of that. But those guys put the crap aside and said, no, we're going to have this fight. And HBO aired it. They aired it. And it wasn't like a blockbuster fight. Tarver won it, but I appreciated what those brothers did. They put business aside. They say, yo, look, let's just do this. And they did it. And if more fighters did things like that, the sport in a whole, in a nutshell, would be a lot better. You would get more fights. You would get more than the fights that you want. But, you know, that's giving power to the fighter and less power to the machine. Because, you know, the powers that are involved, the powers that be, they was like, well, damn, if they just got rid of the damn sanctioning bodies, the networks are next. The networks are next. Can you imagine if fighters started to have, just follow me on this. Imagine if a fighter gets so popular, it's like, you know what? I'm going to have this fight. I worked out a deal with Madison Square Garden or the Staples Center and the Barclays, and I'm airing it on the only way to see this is on my website. On my website. You're going to pay $20 to watch it on my website. It's not going to be on cable. It's not going to be on Fox or nothing. On my website. And if you want to see it live, buy a ticket, go to the Staples Center, MSG, or the Barclays, wherever it's going to be held. But if you want to see it, it's going to be on my website. Pay $20, www.whatever.com, and watch me fight. So now you don't kill the networks. You don't kill the sanctioning bodies, and now we're wholly watching the talent, and they're keeping 100% of the profits. Can you imagine that? That'd be crazy. But, you know, I'm dropping too many gems. You know, I'm putting out too many ideas.
Reggie, you got something to offer?
Yeah, no, I say that's some great stuff, man. It's time for these dudes to get innovative about how they approach this game, because what should be put into them when it comes to these promotions, it's just not happening. And there's so many parallels with the sport of boxing as it is in the industry of music. And with the industry of music, what happens in it is some of the artists who are innovative, they have unique approaches to this game. Hey, they stay way above the crowd when it comes to how they get down in this game. Boxers can do their own shit within the sport. There's so many avenues. This ain't like the old age of how you went about building building events. And matter of fact, I see a lot of these fighters doing it themselves. And anytime a fighter's going on the Breakfast Club, that's them doing their own self-promotion. Anytime they're going live on Instagram and they have a following, that's their own promotion. Getting on, doing interviews with everyday people on here. They're doing their own things. Now, if they went about sitting down with their own managers or them being the business people in mind, getting their money together, learning how, because sometimes you don't take your money, going down, writing up the, what they call it, with the business plan, sitting down with a goddamn banker or whatnot to come up with the plan for money you need to borrow for the event. they can pull it off because they'll see how much attention is brought into this event. The greatest way of tracking stuff in this current age is through views. So anytime business people look at shit, they look at shit on a per unit basis. So they can figure out views, extract a percentage that may attend this. There's big time money that these fighters is leaving on the table because they got promoters who are middlemen, along with being sharks, along with being snakes, along with being whatever venomous type slick ass creature on this planet is. That's what a promoter is, and they're allowing all this money to be taken away from them. They can do all this stuff on their own, man. All the tools are here for people to bypass everything that was done in the old age. And then one quick bit on the thing about how insignificant titles are. When you look at long reigning champions that are out there, a lot of times what gets lost about them is how long their title reign's been. The only thing people care about is who they have defeated in their career. You can go back to Ali about when people speak of this title reign. Only those who are real deep into the history can give you the word on of his title reigns and all that stuff. But many people who are out there who know who Ali is, they don't care about the title reigns. They don't even know what belts Ali had. They care about what Ali did, and they can tell you about the fights that Ali had won, the victories. It's all about the event. It is nothing about them belts, and that just adds more proof to where once these fighters start learning to add value into themselves, just take away the value of all these middle people, man. Because the worst thing, and this is the only sport where you see where so many people are taken away from these dudes, and it's crazy, man, that these dudes lack so much self-confidence, so much self-belief. They lack, betting on themselves, but they can get out there and do it, man. But I know it's a fear. It's a frightening thing for people to take risks like that. But at some point early in the game, you come in with a promoter, you're going to deal with being exploited by these dudes. But at some point in the career is when you branch away, you break away, and you do all these things on your own. But this is the right moment because you have so many avenues of doing this shit on your own and keeping all like Nip said, all money in. And this is the all money in era that these fighters live in. It's just when they capitalize. But I think Devin Haney may be the first kid that takes that unique approach as long as he stays undefeated. Or he don't even got to be undefeated, but as long as he on his climb up, he's undefeated, I think he may take this own approach. They seem to be real innovative and creative on what I think they may have planned and shit.
Yeah, great stuff, man. I want to go to the chat for a second where Eric Jenkins says, as Stormybman, when in the history of any championship sport, the title was just given? Listen, in boxing, I don't know about the other titles. I don't know about the other majors sports, but like, remember the fight that Anthony Joshua fought against Vladimir Klitschko? Anthony Joshua won the title, the IBF, from Prince Charles Martin, right? So when he goes in there to fight Klitschko, it was for the IBF belt, the vacant IBO belt, and the WBA threw their belt in there and said, oh, well, we'll put that in there too. It was like vacant, but it wasn't even originally a part of the promotion. They just kind of like stuck it in there. And they got a fee out of it too. So it's like, what the hell, man? They could just make who they want to be champions. This is why the fighters have to realize the most important leverage they have is when they decide yay or nay of taking on a quality opponent. And if you good,
what fight was that?
The fight between Vladimir Klitschko and Anthony Joshua. He went into the fight as the IBF champ because he won that belt from Prince Charles Martin. But in the fight with Klitschko, they threw the WBA in there, and they said it was vacant, but they threw it in there and made it a part of the fight when it was for the IBF and the IBO vacant belt. So the WBA was vacant as well, and they threw that in there. So AJ didn't go around beating champions and collecting belts. The only person he beat was Charles Martin.
So now, just like that, you know, we all knew that. But on a personal tip, if he had an accountant, or if he was on top of it, someone should have said to him, yo, they're throwing this belt in there, but if you win this, that's about 20,000 pounds out your pocket. I just want to let you know that. 20,000. Or I don't know what the fees are. I really want to ask, like a Wilder or anybody that's been at that level in this day and age. Listen, you're the champ, you make X amount of dollars, or we heard you make this amount of dollars. What do they charge you after every win? Those 10 defenses, what was their fee? I'm just curious. Is it a percentage of what the earnings are? What is it? And I bet you it's more than what I make in a year working at fucking transit in New York. It's disgusting.
It is disgusting.
They should be keeping that money for themselves.
Absolutely. Which actually speaks to the notion of, and it shows how clever he was, but somebody obviously put him onto it, because I don't consider him a great thinker. Floyd Mayweather realized that, winning those belts and then vacating and fighting who he wants to fight. Then many people say, well, Floyd didn't go and become undisputed. The thing about it is, Floyd was smart enough not to share the money, because he could pay a sanctioning fee for one belt, but he don't have to pay a sanctioning fee for the guy who he's fighting another belt for. And if you look at it like it's supposed, he could even go in and vacate his belt and fight for the other guy's belt, beat him, then fight another guy for a different belt, beat him, and all of a sudden, if he's vacating these belts, yeah, he doesn't hold those sanctioning bodies titles, but he's the undisputed man. But he just chose to represent on the WBC side, but he would go up, weight class, fight at 154, fight at 147. And the thing about it was, the undisputed had too much of a cost. It was business. But see, when the fighter started thinking like that, it's like you're definitely not going to get the fights you want to see. But I'll say this. If he relishes the challenge of something, like look at how Clarissa Shields has done it, right? Yeah, and she's paid fees because those belts come with fees. But she went and she fought the best person each weight class that she dropped down as she, won her first title and started dropping down. She beat the best person available. And they're going to get mad and say, well, she's not the GOAT, but she's beating everybody y'all said was good. So it's like, in her own way, she's done it a different way, and it has a tremendous payoff. They try to anoint Lomachenko as being good, but he ain't fought nobody. So it's like, get out of here. What is that? You got to fight somebody, man. So, that's what I have to say on that. What do you guys think about that? Reggie, what do you think about what I just said?
I don't know. I don't think I too much disagree with you, but I don't know.
What about you, Drew?
Well, I believe that look. The public, you see, what you said earlier was absolutely correct. The sanctioning bodies play off the emotions of the public. So they try and give the public exactly what they want. The WBC believes that Canelo Alvarez is what the public wants. You understand? The WBO, they do whatever the hell Bob Arum tells them to do. All right? And so on and so forth. All right? So they pretty much, they play off the emotions of the public. They like get a feel of who they want, who has the most extreme fans, and then they put them in their face. You shove them in our face. But the problem is, for us, the fans that know better, we look at things like that and we say, nah, we know better than that. We see what's really going on. We see what's going on with Canelo. We see what's going on with Vasily Lomachenko. We see that. We see what's going on when WBC puts a juiced up bitch on drugs in the ring and strip titles and don't give them back. Come on. We see things like that, but the extreme fans, all they see is the people that is shoved in their face, and they like them, whether it be for any reason. And the most popular reason is by way of tribalism. Tribalism plays a huge part in all sports, in boxing in particular. You understand what I'm saying? So I understand it. I don't like it, because if things just fall into place, there'll be a lot of people sitting at the top of the food chain that people won't just like. I'll give you a prime example. In basketball, the years that the Spurs won the championship, they said that was the most least watched NBA finals like in their history. Tim Duncan was boring. The team was not like a superstar, like exciting team to watch. They were very basic, but they got the job done when it needed to be. But it was the most least watched NBA finals. You know, you look at the Golden State Warriors, when they first got it together, that was an exciting team to watch. The 90s Bulls, there was an exciting team to watch. The Lakers, the Showtime Lakers, and the Kobe and Shaq Lakers, they were an exciting team to watch. It's like that in boxing. They want to pick and see who's exciting to watch, who has the most extreme fans, and we're going to, boom, throw that male or female out there. Mexican, black, or whatever. Usually it's Mexican or now it's Mexican or European now. They're really trying to force that down our throats. But if you take all of that stuff away and let things fall where it's supposed to fall, the people in the head of the classroom will not be appreciated, because we all know what's going to happen with that. Okay, they systematically moved Lomachenko away from Devin Haney. Why did they do that? They put up, the boxing world saying, we put up with 20 years of Floyd Mayweather. We're not going to put up with Devin Haney. We're going to stop that shit before it starts. Okay? We got a white fighter that moves like a black fighter, and we could, at least in our eyes, and we're going to shove him down their throats until we're going to make them like it. We're going to rape them until they love it. That's what they're doing with Lomachenko. Canelo, that's familia. That's familia. So we're going to do everything in our power to protect him and protect ours, while shoving him down their throats. But he got a trick for their ass. Because I honestly think when that DAZN deal went out, he's going to take his money and leave Oscar high and dry and do his own thing. And I think he'll throw that belt in the trash. Well, he basically did. He threw the real belt in the trash. And the WBC franchise is a mythical belt. He don't care about that. He's going to be the guy to start his own damn thing and do his own damn thing. And Oscar's going to be mad again. But yeah, that's that. I hope that answered the question. But you know, that's my take on it.
Yeah, and that's a great remark on that too. You know, well, at least we were able to get in this evening a very, very good boxing conversation amongst us and sharing with the chat, because again, as I opened the show up, that's what my channel is all about, trying to, you know, take it to the depths of the sport and talk about it, because there's so much to cover. There's so much. So we could never run out of subject as long as you're looking at the sport with the proper critical eye. I want to thank you brothers for joining me this evening. That's 2 hours, man. It went by pretty quick, and it was. I can't wait to catch the replay on it, because I wasn't able to see all of the comments in the chat, but people were really engaging. Lala D is out there, and you know, you brothers, and Black Banter was out there, and just, you know, keeping good conversation going in the chat as well. So I love that. Go ahead and give us some final words there, Drew, and let everybody know, remind them where they can find you.
Yes, sir. First of all, thank you, Stormy, for having me on. It's a pleasure as always. You know, I always learn from you guys, man. Shout out to Reggie, man. And I always listen to you, Reggie, on the political tip, man. You know, my feelings are exactly the same. You know, we're living in a very tough time, but, you know, I am Drew Titan, Bronx on deck. Shout out to the entire LDBC Strong. You can catch me here on YouTube. I do LDBC Strong, 7 p.m. Sunday, Eastern Standard Time. I discuss health and wellness, and I also discuss boxing. I'm gonna try and get a little more boxing in as of late because there's a lot of things that I can't ignore. Also have LDBC Strong sessions. That's like a pop-up stream. Not Strong session, LDBC Raw. And I have trainers and fighters of the past and present. And me and the brother Trick Note get these guys on, and we ask them about the business. What would they change? What would they do different? Just basically general information. You know, I'm going to have some more things coming for you guys. It's a pop-up stream, no real time, but I often advertise a couple of days before the stream comes up. So I'm also on Instagram under the same name, Drew Titan. Once again, Stormy, thank you for having me on. You know, I always like to contribute. And you can also catch me on OG Boxing Talk every Sunday with Fernando Don. That'll be 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I believe it's 8 a.m. West. 8 a.m. West. Thanks, brother.
My pleasure, man. You're welcome. Reggie, come on in and let everybody know where they can find you. And don't be shy about telling them about some good fights you're going to be calling coming up.
Oh, yeah, right on, man. It was great being on here with y'all, man. I enjoyed the hell out of this, man. Salute OG. Salute my brother Drew Titan. And also on the political thing, man, it's time people really wake up, get really deep in on this political thing on all levels of this damn country's democratic process. It's serious times, which you see going on, has many you know, there's all sorts of layers that play into it, and many of these layers tie into a political infestation that's going on deep in this country, and people need to start putting their feet on the grounds and attacking it. But man, I enjoy the conversation, man. It's a great conversation, man. And like you say, there's always something to talk about in the sport of boxing. There's so many aspects to this game that needs to be cleaned up. There's so much, you know, there's a rich history within this sport that can be, that's, you know, a lot of information that comes out of it, a lot of interesting trivia that comes out of it, man. It's just always exciting. And like OG was saying, I go back in time. I do a lot of these historic fights. Last night I did Max Schmeling versus Joe Louis. There's a rich history in that. That was my first time watching the fight. I got to go back. I love history, so got to dig in a little bit of history on that one. Watched the fight. It was a very entertaining fight, and I enjoy this stuff, man. I enjoy the hell out of boxing, man. And I mean, what better way for men to really establish themselves than through this sort of art, man? And this has always been the way it is. It's better than being a punk and having to pick up a weapon. Real men fight like men. They square up and stand in front of each other, and they sell it that way rather than picking up guns like pussies. Sorry for using the word on the channel, but I'm passionate about. I passionately hate folks who resort to sucker ways of handling business because they're too cowardly to face their problems or face what they dislike like a man. But yeah, man, another great session, man. I enjoyed the hell out of this, OG, and my brother Drew Titan, man. Salute.
And Reggie, I got a suggestion for you, and don't watch it first, but call a fight between Arturo Gatti and Wilson Rodriguez. I guarantee you that you and your people in the chat, because I'll be there too, they're going to enjoy it. It's a great fight. Arturo Gatti and Wilson Rodriguez.
Man, I think Trick Note gave me that fight today. I think I had that on the list.
Oh, really?
He gave me. They have Gotti on there.
Yeah,
I think it may have been that guy's name.
Dude, that's a fight, and I love your reaction when you're calling them because you be like, "Oh, it's like," and that's one of those fights that you would definitely be animated about. No lie. And I once again, I want to thank you brothers for joining me this evening, man. You made for a wonderful show. We've really been burning on the Stormy B-Man channel as of late, and you guys are making me look good. I'm ready for my close-up. You know what I'm saying? Looking good like this out here with you guys. If people in the chat, thank you for joining us. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe to Drew Titan's channel, please do so. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe to Reggie Owens' channel, please do so. And man, this is I'm walking on cloud 9, man. I'm feeling really good. This was a great show. I want to say shout out to the LDBC. I appreciate everybody that tuned in and joined us tonight. This is Stormy B, man. We're going to sign off. I hope everybody have a wonderful weekend. Until we see each other again, I'm going to say peace. And also don't forget that tomorrow morning, In the Eye of the Storm, with Cadillac Red from Supreme Beast Boxing Talk will be joining us. In the Eye of the Storm, 10 a.m. Central. So check us out. Peace to everybody. Have a good night.